I'm standing here in the Portsmouth Welcome Center on High Street in Old Town Portsmouth, just across the street from the Children's Museum of Virginia. Visitors can come here to find out more information about all there is to see and do in Portsmouth. And believe me, there's plenty. Sound interesting? Then stay tuned and we'll tell you all about it right here, right now on this episode of Portsmouth Now. Welcome to this April-May 2022 episode of Portsmouth Now. I'm your host, Rob Lauer. Now that spring has sprung, the city calendar is chock full of fun activities, concerts, festivals, and beloved annual events, such as the PIT. That's the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament. Here to tell us about it is Jack Ankerman. Jack, welcome to Portsmouth Now.
Thank you, Rob. Here we are.
Right? Here we are. Well, listen, for those who have no idea what the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament is, tell us, what exactly is it?
The Portsmouth Invitational Basketball Tournament is an annual affair. In fact, this will be our 68th annual Portsmouth Invitational Basketball Tournament. And quite frankly, what it is a basketball tournament. And it involves seniors and graduates, those who have used up their complete college eligibility. And a player selection committee picks, and we have 8 teams sponsored by 8 companies here locally in Portsmouth and Norfolk, and that's what we do. We have a tournament consisting of 12 games over 4 days.
Okay, fantastic. So where do the players come from? They're from?
Yeah, the players that come from all over the country, and they, like I mentioned, they have to be graduates or their eligibility used up. They can't have any eligibility left. And you know, with this COVID business, we've had interesting situations where they've been granted an extra year to play. And so the Player Selection Committee, which we have in conjunction with a representative from the NBA and people on our board, are in the process of making the selections of the 64.
Wow.
We have 8 teams of 8 players. Wow. And they're all guaranteed 3 games apiece.
Okay. So now, where is it being held this year, and what are the dates?
The dates are April 13th through the 16th, and all the basketball is played at the Churchland High School Gymnasium.
Okay. Now you mentioned for 60, this is the 68th?
64.
For 64. Okay. So how did this begin? Can you tell us something about the history of it?
Well, way back, 68 years ago. Gee whiz, I don't really know. I wasn't here. I wasn't in the area 68 years ago, right. Although I've been here a good while, but not that long. And I'm told it was just a local group decided they wanted to have some kind of interesting tournament afterwards, and players from all around were invited to play, and they put together teams, and away they went. And it's evolved over the years to where it is now almost a very sophisticated organization, and how it works and how the players are selected and everything like that. But it's gone through a lot of aches and pains over the 68 years.
Yeah. So if people are interested in getting tickets, where do they go online? Where do they call? What do they do?
Well, the easiest place to go is the Portsmouth Welcome Center, the Visitor Center, because
that's
they are
where we
available
are
right now. That's where we're standing, and you can
Okay.
buy tickets right now. And they are $12 per day. Or you buy a book for the complete tournament for $40.
Okay, that's a great deal.
Yep, it sure is. There's 12 games total.
All right, well, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us and telling us all about it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it because we haven't had the PIT in the last couple of years due to the pandemic and COVID. And so the 68th should have been in 2020. But because of the pandemic, we did not play the tournament in 20 or 21. So we're all excited and genuinely happy to be back at it again, and this being the 68th annual.
Well, that's great. Well, welcome back.
Thank you. We're happy to be back.
On Wednesday, April 13th, Portsmouth State of the City 2022 will be held at the Portsmouth Renaissance Hotel and Conference Center from 12 noon to 2 p.m. The event is open to the public. For tickets, simply log on to portsvaevents.com, or for information about watching a live stream, log on to www.portsmouthva.gov. The Atlantic Union Bank Pavilion in Portsmouth is one of the region's top entertainment venues. This summer, some of the top names in music industry will be playing there. And here is Ken MacDonald, Marketing Director of IMGoing, to tell us about the lineup. Well, Ken, welcome to Portsmouth Now. So tell us a little bit about the Atlantic Union Bank Pavilion.
Well, I'm happy to be here today to talk about the Atlantic Union Bank Pavilion, especially coming off of the past with the pandemic, and we're really excited about being able to go into a full season this year. It's located in Portsmouth near High Street, and it's an outstanding facility. It's been a wonderful asset for the community, and as it compares to facilities like it across the country, it's my favorite, of course, but it is one of the best. And being outdoors and under the stars and on the Elizabeth River, you can't ask for a better setting to see a show.
Great. So you have a pretty good lineup now coming up for the summer.
It's been a great year. There's some pent-up demand for artists that want to tour, and we know that people want to get out and they want to get out safely and join together in their community. And so we've got an action-packed lineup, and it's still a work in progress because we'll continue to announce shows throughout the summer. Some shows get added early, some later, so you need to constantly check on pavilionconcerts.com to see what the updates are with shows.
And how late do you go into the season? Is it just to the end of the summer into the early fall?
Well, it depends on who's available and what their touring schedule is. We're comfortable through mid-October, and we may go a little bit later if we really have something special that could take us as late as Halloween.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, the facility itself, I understand it's doing some brush-ups, some renovation.
Yeah, this is a time of year. Not only has it had some significant renovation, it has all new seats with cup holders, but it's also the time that we do all the freshening up. Right now, city staff is very busy with landscaping, painting, cleaning, the technology pieces for Wi-Fi and communication, video systems, sound systems. It's a tremendous amount of work that goes to get the venue ready for the season, but it's really shaping up nicely, and we'll be ready when the first show hits.
Oh, that's great. And so, right as of now, what is the first show?
Well, the first show right now is part of the High Tide Summit, which is happening in Portsmouth at the Renaissance, and it is April 20th. And the headliner for the show is 3-6 Mafia and Kevin Gates. And that'll be the first official concert of the year.
Fantastic. I know you have a list here. We don't read a whole list, but can you look over that and maybe tell us some of the other acts coming up?
Well, April 23rd is Jack White, and it's a really special event to be able to see Jack White. First time in a major venue in Hampton Roads. There's a Christian artist, Zach Williams, which will be April 30th. Chicago, who is legendary and has won many number ones, many Grammys, will be May 14th. Smashing Pumpkins, May 24th. Umoja is going to be special this year. We usually have a headliner on Umoja. This year we have two shows. We'll kick off the Umoja Festival, which is in its 30th anniversary. The kickoff show on Friday night will be Chaka Khan.
Wow.
And this is Memorial Day weekend. And then we're going to close it with the 70s Soul Jam featuring the Stylistics, Enchantment, Blue Notes, and Heat. And it's going to be hosted, if you'll remember, by Jimmy J.J. Walker. The show will be dynamite.
I'm showing my age, yeah, I remember him.
And other artists, her and all her R&B Grammy Awards, Maren Morris, Avett Brothers, Crowder, the Black Crowes, Whiskey Myers, Why Don't We, which is a pop band that's outstanding, Hailstorm, a rock band. There's something on the lineup for everyone. And there's also city events that occur throughout the summer that you can check on pavilionconcerts.com to see what sort of events that we're putting on there. We'll also, in May, continue the tradition of Movies in May, which are free and open to the public, which will be on mostly Saturdays in May, just to encourage people to come check out the venue if you haven't been there before. Perfect time to bring the family and just enjoy the venue.
And also, I would think coming over here a few hours early, there are a lot of great places to eat in Old Town.
Yeah, you just don't want to come to a show. Portsmouth has a lot of residents that attend shows, but we're also a center, a gathering concert place for not only Hampton Roads, but North Carolina, Richmond, Roanoke, DC. There's a lot of people that will make a trip around the weekend. So we encourage them to make a night of it, make a day of it, make a weekend of it, and visit the restaurants, visit the retail locations on High Street. There's wonderful hotels to stay at, the Renaissance on the water. It's an amazing opportunity.
Some great bed and breakfasts too,
Yes,
in Old Town, yeah.
yes, the bed and breakfasts. There's wonderful surprises throughout the city that if people do a little homework, they can come and have a great stay in Portsmouth and have the highlight of the show be the concert.
Is there anything else that you'd like viewers to know about coming here for a concert?
I think that everyone should be excited about coming here, and it's really easy to come to a show at the Pavilion. If you're coming from a certain direction, you're going to just come out through the downtown tunnel. It's the first exit. It's easy parking. We keep the gates moving quickly so people can get in. The facility is not so large that it's hard to navigate. It's easy to find your seat, and everyone's seat is very close to the stage, and they get a wonderful experience.
Public art, that's murals on buildings, statues, and interactive displays along sidewalks, add beauty, charm, and fun to the life of any city. And Portsmouth is no exception. For years, the organization Support Portsmouth Public Art has been sponsoring the creation and installation of art around the city. Next, we're going to interview one of the founders of that organization, John Joyce. John, welcome back to Portsmouth Now.
Okay, thank you.
Well, listen, I want your opinion. Why is public art important? Why is art important?
You know, that is a big decision that everybody has to make. How important is it? I mean, obviously people say, why is sports important? They're all parts of our makeup. I guess just how we express ourselves, and we can identify with artists expressing themselves. And so some art means nothing to me. And some just like, wow, right on the money. So I think it's individual.
So how many years ago was Support Portsmouth Public Art created?
I'm not quite sure. I think 11 years, 10 or 11, somewhere. COVID has messed me my idea of what time is anymore. So
what is the objective? Is it do you sponsor the creation of public art?
We sort of want to do a little bit of everything like that. So far, we have been the main producers of it. We come up with the ideas, find the artist, give them let the artist sort of expound and express themselves too at the same time. We would like to do even more on that, just maybe in the future, letting artists come to us and with ideas. But right now, we're still at the phase where we're doing more than they're directing, and that just means more work for us, though.
Right, but you love the work too.
Do love it. I love it. I don't know why more people aren't knocking on my door saying, "John, can we help you put up some art?" I mean, I have a ball with this stuff, and the artists. Some of the things I do, the artists will stand back and say, "Wow, why did you do it this way?" This is, So, yeah, I mean, it's fun. You get to drive by it and see it all the time.
And probably, I'm assuming that a lot of Portsmouth citizens have for years driven by and noticed the art on one level, but sort of not noticed it at the others. Tell us some of the things like murals that we've seen around town.
Well, we're like across the street, there's a mural of the children, two children. It's best seen from the Children's Museum, second floor. That was the intent. I came up with the idea. Sam Welty, this great artist, he came up with my ideas and put it on paper, and we got up there and he painted. I helped wash the walls and everything else. It was just, and most people don't see it because it's just, you have to almost stand back here at the.
Well, I know when you're on the second story of the Children's Museum, you look out, you see that it's two children peeking through curtains.
Yeah, I mean, we kept trying to figure out what to do, and then I had that in a dream for some reason. I don't know, some kids hiding from me or something. I don't know what it was, but all I know is that was, and Sam was able to put exactly what I was thinking. And we found two wonderful little kids. I do not know their names. The parents, I have the parents' signatures, but I didn't get the children's names, which I'm sure they're probably in college now or whatever.
Yeah. But there's some other things, like there's the old cemetery here in Old Town, the wall around it.
Well, that one, of course, the old wall collapsed, and then they put a new wall up, so they don't have a mural on that one.
Okay.
But they moved it over to, I guess that was like the 600, 700 block, a big wall over there. They got the same Battle of Craney Island there. A couple of things, we've got art in parks. We've got murals over at the city park, at the pavilion. We have probably one of the most beautiful sculptures I've ever seen. It's 3 herons that we put over at Hoffler Creek.
Oh, I've seen those. They're
just
beautiful.
Yeah, and the setting.
And you come across them when you're walking along the nature
No,
trail.
the setting, I mean.
Where did the statue come from?
Well, I know where they came from. I went and got them up in Connecticut, but the guy even thinks it's one of the best settings he's ever seen in his sculptures.
It really is, yeah. And of course, there's the famous frog in front of the Children's
Museum. Believe it or not, I hate to correct you, it's a toad. Everyone thinks it's a frog, but it's a toad. Okay. And but that came from a lady, Pokey Park from Arizona, and we had started doing this sculpture exhibit yearly at the PAC, or the Portsmouth Art Culture Center. And so she came, she brought several of hers, and we liked the toad so well, but she told me, well, it has fingernails, so that means someone kissed it and it's turning into a human. And of course, I've always been argumentative, and I said, well, how do you know it's not a human becoming a toad? And later on, I actually wrote a children's book about it. And then later on, we've got, I think, 13 small miniature murals, all in the shops and restaurants around here. And I wrote a little continuing story about this toad and his girlfriend. And this is the brochure called Toads on High. And it's sort of like a scavenger hunt.
Okay.
For children to go, adults to go up and down, and they can see all the toads.
And so these brochures are right here
brochures
in
here
the
at Welcome Center. We have another one which we started doing the wings anyway. I wanted to do wings on a building that I never got permission from. I was the one to cover it with wings. So we decided to do wings that you could use as a photo op. And we did a couple, and then we got a small grant to do some more. And so I think we have a total of 10 wings all over Portsmouth. 7 of them I think are downtown. And then there's 2 in Churchland, and 1 in Mid-City, I think it is. No, yeah, right.
It's things like this that people come upon it, and it's surprising, it's charming, it's fun, and to me, it just speaks to the fact that somebody cares about the community.
The art tends to make communities safer. It's a strange phenomenon, no one knows why. Our art has survived a lot of warnings of, there's going to be a lot of graffiti and all this stuff, and we've had so little damage to any of our art. Mother Nature's been the most vicious to it.
Right.
But we tend to think that even the reckless criminal element, if you want to call it that, I don't know, it's more vandalism element, they respect art. We put paintings, murals on the skate park in Craddock, and I was warned, there's going to be so much graffiti every week. There's graffiti on that skate park, and they, after 3 years, had none. I think they had some just recently, but it was so minor.
And I think that speaks to the fact that people value it. People aren't going to spray graffiti or damage something that they actually enjoy themselves.
Absolutely, and I think they feel that it's part of them. They identify with it, and that's what we need to do, more art throughout our Portsmouth, which is one of our plans for this coming year, is to put about 7 to 10 murals all over the city. And we're going to try to make it more issue-oriented. Because, I mean, right now we've got cute toads, and we've got wings, and we've got history elements of musicians and stuff. But I think we also need to speak to some of the issues of the daily person. So we're going to try to let the artist and the building owner and SBPA come together and put some meaningful art. Not to saying I don't love happy art,
Right.
but that sometimes you can look at things in a very humorous way too,
Right.
as well as being serious.
Okay. So what are do you have events coming up to raise money, to get more
We're
notice for
always
the
trying to raise money, but because art costs, we have just started sponsoring the First Fridays event at the PAC. We'll be, I don't know, having wine and beer and snacks.
And music.
There's going to be music. The Freedom Boat Club is the one that's helping sponsor the music. And we're going to have a little mini silent auction of a couple items, of pretty valuable items to see every month to do that. We're also having 2 markets, street markets. We're doing a market on First Friday night with in coordination with the concert, as well as on Saturday mornings in downtown, right near the farmers market.
Okay.
And so those are 2 money-making events also. And we always have gently viewed art sales and stuff through the year, as well as membership. Membership is probably one of the easier ways of getting money because people want to support us.
Okay, so if people want to go online, is there a site?
There is. It's sppava.org is their website. It's $20 a year. If you are a business and you'd like to sponsor, it's $50 a year. Okay. And there are benefits which we will explain. Also, if you just want to be on the news, in the newsletter, we can send you a newsletter if you don't want to belong, but we hopefully you belong.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for taking time to come here and tell us about Support Portsmouth Public Art.
Okay, it's been a pleasure. Thanks.
For more news you can use, listen to the City of Portsmouth's new podcast, Let's Talk Portsmouth, the podcast series that just may change your perspective. Find our podcast on Spotify, the Podbean app, or Amazon Music Audible.
After being closed for more than a year, the Children's Museum of Virginia is now open. New displays at the Children's Museum are Lumo Play, Everbright, a new summer exhibit titled Some Assembly Required, and the refurbished Happy Paws. The Children's Museum of Virginia is open Wednesday through Sunday for 2 sessions each day. Reserve your tickets at childrensmuseumvirginia.com, where children's imaginations take flight.
Are you considering a career in law enforcement? Sign on today as a Portsmouth police officer and receive up to $1,500 if you're already Virginia certified. We offer a $1,000 allowance for a bachelor's degree and a $500 allowance for an associate's degree on top of your base pay. Officers can also earn additional income on time spent in court and at community events. Visit our website at portsmouthpd.us for more information on how to apply.
On any given Saturday morning from the spring until Christmas, the place to be in Old Town is the Old Town Farmers Market at the corner of Court Street and High Street. Recently, the market got 2 new directors, Jim and Kathy Cullen, and they're here now to tell us about this very popular weekly event. Jim, Kathy, welcome to Portsmouth Now. And congratulations on your new positions as directors of the Old Town Farmers Market.
Thank you.
You've been involved with it for a while, I'm
Yes.
assuming?
Okay. Jim's volunteered for the last several years. Yeah, several years now.
With the Sheriff's Auxiliary. And then I retired last August and started hanging out with him on every Saturday, so I was down there for the better half of the year. Yep.
Yeah, it was kind of like at some point, Terry Danner, who had been running it for years and years and years, seemed to pick up on the fact that we had a genuine interest in keeping this going forward, and started throwing broad hints. And she learned that Kathy was going to be retiring, and she's like, "Oh, if I only could find someone with a similar passion," and so I came home and talked to her about it, and here we are.
That's great. So for those who have never been to the farmers market, viewers who might be watching this, tell them about it. What is it? How?
It is a year-round event now. We started back up the winter market January 15th. We do a little Christmas break, and we break for 1 week in April. But then until next December, we run every Saturday down here at the Pack, corner of Court and High. And it is a farmer's market. We also have 3 big produce stands. We also have Red Barn pork. And
it's what you'd call heirloom pork products, meaning that he has like the pedigree of his hogs back to like the original hog or something like that. So he can tell you, the bloodlines of of his products, and he'll cook something for you on the spot and grill it right there in front of you, or he will sell it to you, packaged for you to take home and cook on your own.
We have a couple of seafood vendors, and then we also have a lot of baked good vendors, and then the crafts and artisans that fill in.
It really makes for a fun Saturday.
It is, yeah.
It really does.
It's becoming the hub of Old Town, I think, for the Saturday morning, and since we've been volunteering there, we took upon ourselves to kind of join with the tourism department. So we work with James McCann and Keith, and we kind of push all the information about the events that are going out into town for that weekend and into the following week to everybody that comes to the farmers market. So we basically tell them, just show up down here at 9 or 10 a.m. on a Saturday, and you'll have your whole weekend and week planned out for you.
That's great.
And you'll get your fresh produce, your pork, we do have a beef vendor that will be back in the fall.
Coffee.
Hopefully. Dexter beef. And your seafood and your fresh produce.
And it is, you said event, it's an event. People will come down, locals will come there. Basically, a lot of people will hang out during the course of the day. They'll come, they'll get their coffee, they'll go and get their breakfast sandwich or something like that, and then they will sit there in the courtyard and enjoy. Maybe there's people doing yoga, maybe there's a musician playing type stuff. People will hang out there for hours and hours and hours, but also we see a second wave of people who are coming into town specifically for the market from out of town, who then will use that as a launch pad to go to other things. They go to the museums, they go to other activities that are happening here in the city and stuff like that. So it is turning into just for some people, I could basically tell the world, like, even if you don't know what you're going downtown for, just come down on a Saturday. There's going to be something going on. This Saturday, for example, well, let me see, last Saturday, we had a big, or it turned into a Sunday event, we had a big St. Patrick's Day event going on, and it was all tied into and wrapped around the farmers market. This Saturday coming up, we're going to have a bunch of 1781 reenactors walking around in colonial red coats.
So pretty much, if there are special events going on that given Saturday, it sort of ties in with the
it all
farmers
merges
market
together.
as well. And if there's nothing going on, there's just the farmers market too,
which is its own event unto itself. It really is. There's going to be musicians more often than not playing there. Like I said, we're going to have yoga starting back up again as we get back into season, and it's a kid-friendly type thing, and there's a constant rotation of vendors. There are the core people who are there all the time, but there's others that will only pop in, let's say, once a month. So we post in advance, here's what you can expect for this weekend, but there's always surprises, and everything is homemade, home baked, home cooked, home painted, or assembled, type stuff. And that's pretty much the rule.
This is locally grown produce and stuff. A lot of the municipalities throughout Hampton Roads have these farmers markets. What makes the Old Town Farmers Market different, in your opinion?
You want to take that, or I'll take that?
You can take that.
So here's the difference. A lot of these things are being done in any available big open space. We've woven it into a downtown that I would argue is probably one of the most historic crossroads in the United States of America. I mean, if you look back through the arc of history, everything that has happened in this country's history and before this country's history has passed literally through these streets and on these very same sidewalks that people are walking on today. So you come to this farmer's market and you're very likely to run into, let's say, a costumed reenactor. And if you go to other cities, that might just be a person in a costume. But if you come here and there's a person dressed in a costume and you ask them about themselves, they will tell you who they are because
they'll point down the street and point out the house.
They will because they are reenacting. They are the living embodiment of an actual person from Portsmouth's history, and it's an incredibly rich history. And people, especially visitors, when they first find out what they've stumbled into, they're absolutely amazed. So from there, they can go on to the different museums. They can go to the Hill House. They can go to the Shipyard Museum. They can go to the colored. It's called the Portsmouth Colored Library Museum. Right. The Jewish Museum. There's all these places they can go and learn about parts of Portsmouth's history that they had no idea. And where we are set up on the corner there, luckily enough, there happens to be an old cannon that is sitting nose down in the middle of the sidewalk. And people walk by it all the time, they don't know what it is, but I ask them, can you tell me what that thing is over there? And they're like, is that a fire hydrant? Is that a bollard to tie a ship to? And I tell them it's a cannon, and then it leads us to a conversation about the shipyard and how the shipyard led to the Naval Hospital, and it becomes a whole conversation, and then people are off on a walking tour with the colonials, with their reenactors and stuff. It's very, very exciting. So you're walking through all of American history here. You're not just in, like, say, a big parking lot someplace, compared to other cities.
That's the big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's very inviting. I know that we have some viewers probably that are viewing this that live out in Churchland who have never been across the bridge to here. And I'm sure that you get a lot of surprised people coming from Virginia Beach and Norfolk every once in a while who just had no idea that there was something this nice.
Right, and we have recently been talking to a lot of people that have come up from Virginia Beach for one day, like say last fall, and they keep coming. They spend their Saturday here. And they'll take the ferry, they go over to Norfolk, and they'll come back here, and then they'll go home to Virginia Beach.
Yeah,
so,
and that's the difference also. This is a downtown, it's a walkable downtown, and so like I said, this is a launch pad or a springboard to go to other events. And people will make it the start of their day, and then they'll continue on to go to other. Park once and walk everywhere.
An evening here. If they want.
So like vacation, basically.
Right.
Yeah, that's probably. And then they find themselves into the restaurants, and then they find themselves, wanting to come back for a show later that night. And so we try to let people know, like, here's a list of the rest of the events that are happening today, Saturday, because it's always on a Saturday, and then here's things that are happening on Sunday, and even on Monday there'll be trivia night at this restaurant, and so on.
And coming up events.
Yeah, things that are coming up so that they can do their long-term planning for weeks or even months out for things that are coming up at the pavilion, other concerts or festivals or things that are going to be happening here in the city. And it's kind of exciting watching them light up to the recognition of what they have here that they didn't realize that they had just 15-20 minutes from home.
That's great. Well, keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for taking your time to come here and tell us about it.
Sure.
Thank you.
And we invite you to come out and really enjoy the farmers market any given Saturday throughout the year. Our last guest today is Mark Palamarchuk, Director of the Portsmouth Department of Parks and Recreations. He's here to tell us about two of the city's most popular May events, the Umoja Festival and the Portsmouth Memorial Day Parade. Mark, welcome back to Portsmouth Now.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
Two of probably the most beloved annual events are the Memorial Day Parade and the Umoja Festival. Both take place in May.
Yes.
Your department heads these up, right?
Yes, we do.
So tell us about them.
Well, we always think of it as the unofficial kickoff to summer. You have the whole weekend programmed with events and get the city really excited about what's coming during the summer. Starts with the Umoja Festival first. That Friday of Memorial Day weekend, we will begin it with our opening ceremonies and blessing from the elders, of course, which is very important. Without that, we cannot have the festival. And then from there on, we do start with the musical acts. That'll run till about 6 o'clock this coming year. And then we actually have one of our national acts opening on Friday, Shaka Khan. So
wow.
That'll be a ticketed event at the pavilion itself.
And she was a big deal to people of a certain age.
Yes, she was.
Such as me.
Yes. But to go along with the music, that'll be going on, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We also have over 20 retail vendors on site. We have roughly 20 food vendors on site as well, a children's activity area. This year we're doing something new. We're having a heritage stage, so there will be reenactments Frederick Douglass, Mary Veal and the Colonials, and a few others will come out and do some reenactments from. Yeah, so it'll be a really, really good show.
Now, where's the location?
It is always at Festival Park.
Okay.
And for those people who don't know where that is, it's right in front of the pavilion,
okay,
right next to City Hall. It's a good location. It can hold a lot of people, and there's plenty of parking around, so that's another good thing.
And easy access from the tunnel, too.
Easy access from the tunnel and from the interstate, yes.
Okay, fantastic. Now, the other big event that weekend is the Memorial Day Parade.
The Memorial Day Parade. It'll be our 138th consecutive running of
And that's one of the oldest in the country, isn't it?
It is one of the oldest in the country. There are several cities and towns around America that fight for that designation.
Right.
So we can't say necessarily that we're the oldest, but we're definitely one of the oldest.
Yeah.
Yes, and that'll take place on Memorial Day itself. Of course, those people who don't know what that is for, that's to honor the fallen soldiers from the military throughout the years. It used to be called Decoration Day when it first started.
That was decorating graves of fallen soldiers.
Right. And it's actually started right after the Civil War ended, but it wasn't official until 1971.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that recent. Okay.
Yes. So with that, you typically get 70 to 75 parade units, which is what we call it, the actual floats and things that are in the parade. And that'll begin at 10 a.m. and it runs from IC Norcom High School along High Street all the way down to the water.
Okay, that's quite a hike.
It is, yes.
And just lining up along High Street on the other side.
Either side of the street, yes.
Okay, fantastic. If people wanted information about either of these events, is there a website they can go to or a number they can call?
Yes, they can always visit our website, portsmouthparks.com. It's probably the easiest way to get the information. It's all right there on the website itself. And if they are not necessarily technologically inclined to do that, they can always call our main number at 393-8481.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today on Portsmouth Now and telling us all about it, Mark.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for our show today. If you'd like to find out more about any of the events discussed on today's show, or take a look at future upcoming events, such as 2 Juneteenth celebrations coming in June, simply log on to portsvacation.com. And then come to Portsmouth, where if you give us a day, we'll give you a vacation. I'm Rob Lauer. Join me next time for the June 2022 episode of Portsmouth Now.